Hey, what's up everybody? How's it going? Travis and Susie here from the Wolf Hunters, and we got a reaction video for you. We got this link right here. You can find that link in the description box below the video if you want to request your own personal reaction video. Today's video is brought to you by Brian. Bringing us Recycled Review number 18 by Roy from Aqvavitae. Aqvavitae.
Brian says, "Hi, Travis and Susie.
Hey, Brian.
I've shared a recycled whiskey review by Roy from Aqvavitae before with you. But in his most recent recycled review, he does something really strange before he gets into the review.
Okay.
It's important to remember that Roy is easily the most serious and well-respected Scotch whiskey reviewer online today. This makes what he does here seem even more bizarre and left me feeling flabbergasted." Very nice use of words. "I will not be doing this experiment, nor do I recommend that you nor your viewers try it either. Also, keep in mind that all of these whiskeys cost over $50 per bottle, with some of them going for well over $200.
Wow.
And there are even ones that you cannot buy anymore. We won't watch the whole review, but you'll see his experiment followed by the first bottle he reviews. I'll let you guys be the judge of whether or not Roy has lost his dookies." I really don't know what to think after what I witnessed here. I hope you're having an amazing summer so far, and I'll talk to you soon. And then there's a timestamp.
Okay. 13:43.
13:43. Hit the like button and subscribe. Subscribe to some whiskey. Nice. That's a lot of cans. Did you see how many cans there were? Wonder what they're all different for.
One of the problems with recycled reviews is, well, apart from having to shoot outside, which is always a major pain, one minute it's cloudy, next minute it's sunny, next minute it's blowing, next minute it's raining. And as if to prove a point about filming outside, I'm inside editing this right now. And yeah, I discovered that the camera didn't want to focus on me. Don't worry, it only lasts for a second, and hopefully I've edited it so that you've got to suffer blurry me for the least amount of time. One of the problems is getting to 15 bottles in order to put together a recycled review.
This is how I see without glasses.
I seem to have managed it
maybe even
this
a little
time.
Worse than that.
Plenty bottles. The problem is though, is that often these empty bottles, they're not quite empty. Some of them have some dregs left in them. Now the truth is, I'm never really going to get around to finishing all of these dregs off. I mean, it just ends up being far too much whiskey for any one person to consume, and I've got lots of whiskey friends coming around the house to share the whiskey, but everybody's always interested in the new stuff, the stuff that's up at the top, at the shoulder, and the stuff that's been tried and we're well versed with tends to get pushed further and further to the back. So it gets to the point that these bottles with the last wee dregs on them just need to be finished off. So I've got a solution for that.
There's a solution.
This is one of these kind of demijohns from IKEA. A little tap on the bottom for me to pour a dram and see how my infinity demijohn is getting on from time to time.
Does he put a little bit of each one when it gets to the bottom and dumps it in there?
It's a motley whiskey.
So what I'll do is I'll take these bottles with just 1 or 2 drams left in the bottom, and I'll allow them to live on in an infinity demijohn. That's another
Smart
bottle
for
for the
party,
next
though, I think.
recycled review. But you can see the problem. This isn't always working out because I'm just going to end up with more and more of these infinity demijohns. And I need to be drinking this too in order for it to work. So I'm going to need to upscale. And I've got a solution for that. This is a blood tub. This is an empty cask that was given to me by a very generous friend. So I've put some whiskey in it. I've thrown a couple of bottles in this to test it over time, and I've turned the barrel around as it sat and let the whiskey seep through, make sure the integrity of the cask is okay, and it is okay. And apart from a bit of a leaky bung here, it seems to be holding liquid very well. Most importantly though, it smells lovely and fresh. So this could be our solution. We just need some whiskey to start filling it up. And the very generous friend also helped out there too. You see, this very generous friend has a bothy. And in that bothy, over the years, about 14 years now, he's collected far more whiskey than he can ever drink.
What did he say?
And he started to share it out. And this crate, when
he has a what?
A boroski?
A what?
I think that's what he said. Is that what he said?
I don't know. I couldn't.
Is that like a bar?
A bar key?
I don't know.
I don't know if I know this word.
he came across to me, was absolutely full. So these slots that are empty in here are bottles that we've been able to share amongst ourselves, or have been able to add them into the wee reference library of whiskey that I have in the V-pub. But the rest of it we can use to put some really good quality foundations down in this wee blood tub. For those of you that don't think this is a good idea, you have to remember the sheer amount of whiskey that I have in the V-pub now. And it's about time in my whiskey journey that I started experimenting with things like this. And I'm not going to fill this cask with rubbish. It has to be quite good whiskies that go in this. That Infinity Demijohn has never had any rubbish put in it, ever. Sometimes it's been quite good and enjoyable to sip, and other times not so great. You need to give it time to settle. It's going to be interesting to see what time in a wee cask like this does to that liquid too. Let's get started.
I wonder how it tastes in general mixing all these whiskeys together.
There's so many flavors.
Yeah.
When you don't have all the kit, you need to improvise. That's smelling pretty good. We're going to be adding some peaty whiskies into this now. There was some peaty whiskies in the Infinity Demijohn, but not so many. I think it's got scope to add a bit of peat in here. Let's see what else we've got to add. We've got some old Islay Mist here, an 8-year-old.
That's cool.
Then when you get it out, what do you need? Like
got
a
some
tap,
Kalila.
pump or something?
Distiller's Edition Kalila, finished in Moscatel. Oh dear. Perhaps I need a funnel. Perhaps I just need to be a wee bit more careful. How about some Lagavulin 16?
Does their county not care if it's all shattered in the bottom? I wonder. It's so like entertaining to watch.
No, they're not shattered.
Scotch Malt Whisky
They're not?
Society.
None of them?
This is distillery code
What if they
127, which would make it Port Charlotte.
I like that bottle.
I don't know whether to be excited or nervous, but both.
I didn't know that wetting
How
the
about
cork first
some
and
old
then popping
Aaron
it out.
10-year-old? This is one of those anniversary ones that was celebrating James McTaggart being 10 years as a whiskey maker. 54.2% this one. This is good stuff.
Oh, he didn't do it that time.
Even more peat. Let's add in some Kalila, 12-year-old. Even more peat. A little bit.
It's a lot of bottles.
Talisker's 10-year-old as well. An old label bottling too. Some of this whiskey will have been sitting around this particular gentleman's bothy for quite a wee while.
Bothy.
I hope we're putting it to good use.
Bothy. Bothy.
An old take on a peaty, smoky Benromac 2, fennel level, 53 ppm. It's going to be a lot of smoke in this wee cask, I think.
Has anyone tried mixing, Brian, have you or any of the viewers, have you guys tried mixing a bunch of whiskeys together? Let me know how that flavor is.
Wee bit of Speyside smoke to mix in with all that West Coast and Islay peat smoke.
A bothy is...
And this is where I feel...
A bothy is a basic shelter, usually left unlocked and available for anyone to use on an estate.
Huh.
A small, simple building on a hill.
Okay.
For walkers to shelter in. Or that's used on a farm for the workers to live in.
Now, I don't know anything about barrels and whiskey and stuff, but I'm a little bit nervous about this barrel. It's got like a little bit of rust on it. It looks a little worn. I don't know if that makes a difference. Maybe the inside is not, you know.
Well, all I'm saying is that if somebody, if this generous friend lives somewhere where there's another house on his property and he can just give him all these whiskeys and this, I would say whatever he has is probably good quality.
Yeah.
No matter what it is.
That's true.
So that barrel is probably lovely.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Really quite nervous because I'm going to put 2 absolute cracking bottles in that he gave me too.
Wait a minute.
This one is a beautiful...
Cracking?
I just noticed something. This guy has the same exact microphone and cover on it as the
Kent.
Kent, what was his name last
Kent
name?
Rollins.
Kent Rollins, the cook.
The cook.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty wild.
We need those.
Fruity and bright Glentocher's 19-year-old from Single Malts of Scotland range. A beautiful bottle. I'm going to save a wee dram of this one. And also, to put a big hit of richness into it, I'm putting in a 1990 Glendronach PX cask, single cask as well. 50.8%.
1990. You know, 30 years old.
And I'll save a dram of this to toast the cask. Now, it's time to take care of that infinity. Demi-John.
He's going to have to carry that. Ooh, don't drop that.
I want to know what the comment section looks like.
This might take some time.
Does he taste test this?
There we go. Plenty of space now indoors to take care of all the dregs and a decent amount of liquid to kick off this little infinity cask. This is an experiment. I'm very keen to recommend everyone perhaps doesn't try this at home. I had obviously the whiskey on hand and the whiskey gifted to me in order to be able to do this. Maybe see how I get on, how this works out here, before we all run out and try and get our hands on some blood tubs to do this at home, right? It might be an absolute mess. It is a little bit amateur hour. Now hopefully I'll be able to keep this in a cool, dry place and sometime soon get out and get a new replacement bung and some bung cloth to try and seal things up a wee bit. But that's doing quite well for now. Still just about movable too. Okay, with the sun beating down on my head and no sun cream on, let's get through the regular recycled review. So as always, I've got 15 or so bottles of whiskey in here, bottles of whiskey that I've been sipping at home. I've enjoyed them from the neck pour, throughout the body of the bottle and the dregs at the end. By that time I've built up a bit of a relationship with the bottle, and now at this point in time I kind of throw them away, give them a wee bit of summary and share it with all of you and decide whether I would replace any of these or not. Let's get started with some flora and fauna. Any of you that have known me for long enough will know that I have a wee bit of a fetish for Diageo's Flora and Fauna series. This is one of the available today ones, Glenlossie 10-year-old. You can normally pick it up at malts.com directly or at a multitude of other online retailers. It's often not too expensive, somewhere in the order of £50. Some Flora and Fauna are a wee bit more expensive for the older ones, such as the Benrinnes and the Dilluan, but they, never more than about £60–65. So in terms of value, they're pretty reasonable. But wait a wee while, because they often go on offer, especially at malts.com direct. Anyway, Glenlossie is one of Diageo's lighter styles of kind of workhorse factory type distilleries. This is presented at 43% and 10 years old, this one, and it is a light bottle of whiskey, but that doesn't mean it's without character. When we're sipping Glenlossie, we're sometimes looking for a kind of more grassier style, a more herbaceous style. But for me, this is a fruity style. This is very light and fruit forward. It's very easy to love and very easy to sip. Obviously, we would love it, as with all Flora and Fauna, that if it was naturally presented, there's no reason why it shouldn't be, honestly speaking. This is the type of whiskey that would really only engage geeks. And anyway, we've been asking for that forever. I just noticed on the back that I've paid £57.99 for this back in the day. Wow. Probably bought this about 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's been around for quite a while, I think. And it's still about that same price today. We're always nervous about Flora and Fauna. We never know if it's going to stay around forever, if it's just going to be quietly dropped. It's the type of thing that I feel like I should always keep a healthy stock of it around. But then again, you're like, if it goes, it goes. There's been enough of it over the years for us to pick it up. I think this is a decent wee bottle of whiskey, and probably I'm going to replace it just because I tend to like having the Flora and Fauna series around. I think they're pretty things. This one I'd give a 7.5 out of 10, and I'll probably be looking to pick this up on offer.
And that's our timestamp right there.
Ah.
I would like a follow-up of whenever he decides
to crack that
barrel open and see how that went. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for that one. I love these like educational videos, these experiments, things like that. So thank you so much for that one. Guys, if you want to request your own personal reaction video, look for that link right there in the description box below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Stay tuned. Stay positive.
We love you guys so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.